Right, so recently we spoke about a situation involving a food review TikToker and a restaurant. And I think it's fair to say, in the previous situation, the vast majority of people were on the side of the food review TikToker rather than the restaurant. Well, today we have a different, yet kind of similar situation, but this time the vast majority of people are on the side of the restaurant. But either way, let's add some context to this, right? So there's a few people you need to be aware of here. The first one being Bella Blue, who is the restaurant owner, or a co-owner with her husband. The restaurant is Pulcinella in New Orleans. Now, the food review influencer you need to be aware of in this situation is Fashions Digest with around 56,000 followers. And we are going to be looking at a few videos in just a second that go into a lot more detail of the situation, but I think we should actually start with a review that was left by Diane, who I believe runs the Fashions Digest Instagram account, as she actually left a review before any videos were made after she had visited this restaurant. So let's have a read. So it's a 2-star review. It says, "Skip this place, not worth the hype or price. The restaurant is in a sketchy location and the interior looks like a plain barn. No charm or character with hardly any customers. The food was average at best, yet priced like a fine dining spot in a much nicer part of New Orleans. With so many amazing places in the city offering great food and atmosphere. Don't waste your time or money here." So yeah, I think it's fair to say, a pretty negative review. But this is where we start to hear a much different side to the story. So an Instagram post is made, which I believe is from one of the employees at Pulcinella. We'll see in Diane's video later, she mentions that one of the employees did post about this situation, and this is like the only Instagram post I can find from the time, so I believe this is it. "It's 100% not okay to dine at a restaurant that racks up a $300 bill, and because you call yourself an influencer, expect that you don't have to pay your check. We know that social media influencers can provide a lot of good for local restaurants. This lady ain't no influencer and she ain't no local. There was no deal for her to come in and provide us online content. When the check was brought to her at the end of the meal, she told the server that she only needed to tip. The owners intervened and she argued, asking if $300 is a lot of money to them. Yes, $300 on a summer night in NOLA, $300 is absolutely a lot of money. She and her partner abruptly left without paying or tipping the server that provided them with excellent service. If this woman, Diane Kronstad, comes into your place of business, don't give her the time of day. Definitely don't give her anything for free. Her shitty Insta is Fashions Digest." And we see some more text here saying this is theft, and then also at my Pulcinella was ripped off by at Fashions Digest, spread the word to local businesses. Okay, so two very different sides of the story, right? I mean, the first one, we just have a review that is talking about how bad the experience was at this restaurant, but then we get a response saying that this person is an influencer who expected to get the food for free, and when she didn't, she just left without paying or tipping the server. Which now brings us to Bella's video. So Bella, again, is the owner or co-owner with her husband for the restaurant Pulcinella.
My name is Bella Blue. I am a New Orleans born and raised individual, and I'm a fancy no pants dancer for almost 20 years, and recently I'm a restaurant owner along with my husband Andy and our business partner JD.
Now Bella goes on to say that people may have heard about a situation involving her restaurant, mainly on Reddit. There was a post about it. I believe the Reddit post that she's referring to is the post showing the Instagram story from one of the employees, I believe.
Some of you may be familiar with the restaurant because of Reddit lately. We had an incident that happened, and I wanted to go ahead and just get on here and give some clarity and give you all some context and let you know what happened.
So Bella then goes on to give some backstory, you know, like the first conversations with this influencer. Bella's talking about how she was asking questions, what the answers were as well, and we do actually see this conversation in a separate video, but I'll show it just after this clip.
So I received a message via our Puccinella Instagram from this woman on this account that said, "Hey, we'd like to come in and do some content on the restaurant." Great. Sounds like a plan. Before we lock everything in, can you give me some clarity? What are the expectations? And I will show you all screenshots. All of that will be at the end. So I asked for clarity. I was like, "Hey, are we going to expect him to pay anything, comps, all of that stuff?" She's like, "Nope, just going to get 2 things. We're going to send," I think she said 2 to 3 influencers, and we'll do some stories, a reel, whatever. I was like, great. Sounds great.
So yeah, like I mentioned, we do actually have the conversation here. It ended up being posted in a different video, but this is the conversation, right? So there's a post that's unavailable that we can't see, to which Bella then replies saying, "Hey Diane, there is availability. It's a Friday, so we also have our dinner and a show option where you can go upstairs to catch our house burlesque I believe it's pronounced, show at 8 p.m. as well. Would you be interested in that as well? Diane says, yes, sounds like a wonderful food experience to review. Bella says, can you give me insight to what the expectations would be on your end? So this is a very important part of the conversation, right? Because we have the restaurant, like Bella, the owner, saying that they never agreed that the food would be given for free. We then have Diane, who says that they did agree that the food would be free. So yeah, a very important part of the conversation. So Diane says, sure, one featured article published and one story, one highlight and one static social media reels, posts on food and entertainment, including links. Diane says, are we expected to pay something, comp food, drinks? I just don't want to set it all up and agree to something that I'm not totally clear on. To which Diane says, no payment necessary for this visit. You just need to select from the food and drink menu to review and shoot photos/reels. There will be 2 people, myself and a content creator. So yeah, as you can see, in Diane's message, there is nowhere saying that the food would be given for free. She literally says no payment necessary, goes on to talk about how they can select from the food and drink menu to review certain items. But of course, this should be the part of the conversation where Diane says, like, oh, no payment necessary, but the food could be comped, you know, that's where this should be. But it's never said. She doesn't really actually, like, fully answer the question, right? She doesn't say, like, oh, no, we'll pay for the food. But she also doesn't say anything else. So, of course, Diane's going to take from this message that she's just going to come and order some food, pay for it, and review it. And especially when we see how much Diane and her friends actually ordered, it would be wild to think that even if they did agree that the food would be comped, that they would then go out of their way to order so much food, right? Because if a restaurant said to me, oh, the food's comped, which, by the way, has never happened, I wouldn't even agree to doing that, right? But hypothetically, if that happened, I would then be like, oh, God, I'm only going to order them one meal and, like, a drink, you know? Like, I don't want to take the piss here. But that doesn't really happen. They order quite a lot, as we'll see. So going back to Bella's video, she goes on to mention that the show, which is upstairs of the restaurant, has finished, everything's kind of getting wrapped up, and then she is told by someone working at the restaurant that there's something that she needs to come downstairs for, which is this situation right here.
At the end of the show, things are wrapping up. I am getting everybody paid. I get a text message from my server and she says, hey, can you come downstairs? Because the influencer is saying that she's not supposed to pay anything. And so I go downstairs. At this point, I'm armed and ready, right? I have my phone in my hand. I have the message pulled up. I'm like, ready. Walk over to her table and she's like, oh, you misunderstood me. That means that you just don't have to pay us, but everything should be comped. And I was like, but I asked you, I asked you for clarity.
Yeah, and there was absolutely no clarity, right? Again, if Diane really thought that is what they agreed on, why would you not specifically say that? Your excuse can't be you misunderstood me when you quite literally didn't say it.
You know, and she's like, no, I mean, that's how this works, and this is what we do. And so then at that point, Andy and I go to the side and are chatting, and I was like, look, I was like, my mistake. I didn't realize. I will cover the cost of this. I'll make sure the server gets tipped out. And he's Italian. He's like, no.
Yeah, and I think good on him, right? I mean, bless Bella saying, like, you know what, my bad. I guess I did maybe misunderstand and not sure how this works. I'll pay for it. But she didn't misunderstand because it was never clarified. And look, we are kind of just seeing what Bella's side of the story is here. We will see a bit more of a response from Fashions Digest or Diane a bit later. But judging by this video, how Bella is explaining the situation, apparently Diane is saying, like, this is just what we do, you know, this is how it goes. Which to me makes it sound like they're, like, you know, like big food review influencers. This is what they do, right? This is their content. They go to these places, do the reviews. You know, like the type of, like, Keith Lee type videos, for example. But actually looking on the Fashion Digest page, like if you go to any of the videos where they're at a restaurant or a bar, it's a slideshow, mainly, right? I mean, this is playing right now, it's just still images, and then they'll have like a little paragraph at the side, kind of talking about it. And look, I don't mean to be that guy to bring up like numbers or anything, but I think it's kind of important context, this situation, right? Because on the Fashions Digest Instagram account, maybe averages like 100 likes, right? And again, I'm not pointing out to be like, oh, the numbers are low, but based on that, I can't imagine that there is many restaurants and bars that would let you get away with a $300 bill to post on your story or like post a reel. I could of course be absolutely wrong there, but just based on what I'm seeing here, it feels like this isn't something that happens too often. But maybe it does. She does have a lot of posts going to restaurants, so maybe it is always free. But yeah, going back to Bella's video, we just heard Andy say like, no, we're not doing this, right? You shouldn't have to pay for this. So Andy goes over and speaks to the influencers, right? And says like, this is deceptive what you're doing.
So anyway, proceed, Andy starts to step in, and Andy is addressing this and saying, you know, my wife is the one that you were talking to. She asked for clarity. This is deceptive. And the fact that you all are willing to come in here and ring up a $300 tab and that you expect it to be comped is kind of ludicrous.
To which Diane, or one of her friends, apparently replies to this, basically asking the question of, is $300 a lot to you? Just trying to make it seem as if it's not a lot of money, it's not a big deal.
Oh, the golden part is like as she was leaving, she's like, is $300 a lot for you? And I was just like, because $300, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Is it a lot? Yes, it's a lot for a small business. Absolutely. You know, and to write it off as such, to just be like so flippant about it, like, oh, you should just be able to eat that, no problem.
Yeah, it absolutely is a lot of money. It's $300, right? So just to kind of like apparently say like, oh, it's only $300. That is wild to me. I mean, Diane said that it was her and two of her friends that were coming. We then saw the story from the employee who says that it was just her and somebody else, or two people. Either way, $300 is still a lot of money. And I mean, we can actually see the tab here and we can see what they ordered. So looking at this, it's obviously like a bunch of food and a bunch of drinks, but I mean, it's a lot of items. And by the way, going back to the review, they said that this place is like overly expensive. This does not seem overly expensive to me at all, right? Like, steak, $32. Oyster art soup, $15. Like, this seems very fairly priced to me. In fact, not even just fairly priced, like, actually, like, well priced. Like, if I saw this in a menu, I'd be like, that's a pretty good deal. Now, I did mention we did get a bit of a further response from Diane, and it's actually on the review. So she went back and basically edited the review to add more for thought, I guess. And it was after Andy, Bella's husband, actually responded to the original review. So Andy replied saying, "Hi Diane, it takes a person of particularly putrid character to comment on the price of a meal she walked out on without paying for. And it didn't seem your party felt uncomfortable in our barn while you were ordering your 7th and 8th cocktails. And your coded language about the neighbourhood is something every New Orleanian can hear right through. Once again, revealing your dark character. I did find it funny while photographing your license plate for the police report that your husband was removing the club trademark from what I believe was a rental car. While I should also point out that the majority of our diners disagree with your assessment, since we have less than 10 non-5-star reviews, some describing the amazing personal experience they receive from us. They are all real reviews. I don't pay for fake ones like you pay for your fake followers. Anyway, the total of your bill was around $290, and for that you got 8 alcoholic beverages, 7 food items, 2 desserts, and a litre of Pellegrino. I'd say we are very competitively priced. I would agree with that. I had to pull a receipt for the police report also, so I did a little counting. Speaking of receipts, I have plenty more, including your communication with us both prior and after the incident. This includes the one where we very clearly asked if compensation, including comped food or drink, was expected, and to which you clearly responded no. I'd be happy to release those as well, or you could simply take down what I'm certain is going to be a viral response to your unwarranted review. Hope you're well, Andy." Now, Diana ends up editing her original response to add a response to Andy here, and it says, "Reply, wow, I left a review above, and the response from Andy, a Pulcinella, is completely unhinged and full of falsehoods. I have since learned why there are no negative reviews of this restaurant. They reportedly use smear tactics and intimidation to pressure people into deleting their honest feedback. This behaviour is unacceptable, and I will be reporting this restaurant for slander and harassment." Now, looking at the reviews on Bella's video, the vast majority of people are on Bella's side here, like this one here saying influencers are ruining social media and customer service. There's also a comment here basically asking if the server got tipped as well, to which Bella replies saying, "At the end of the night, we closed the tab out at our owner discount, but we tipped the server on the original amount. She did not have to suffer due to this woman's transgressions." So yeah, what we're hearing here is Diane left not only just not paying the actual bill, but not even tipping. To which apparently she also said, like, a part of the deal is that she just has to tip, but she didn't do that apparently. Another comment here which is funny saying, "Is $300 a lot for you? Oh, so it's not a lot. Problem solved. Are you paying in cash or card?" I mean, that's actually a very good point, right? If she doesn't think $300 is a lot, then why are you not paying it? Now, not only has this resulted in a lot of support for Bella on the video, but also there's a lot of positive reviews being left on the Pulcinella, like, Google reviews, which is good to see. I'm not sure if we're going to get a further response from Diane. Who knows? There's nothing posted further than what we spoke about today. So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this whole situation. Who do you think's in the right? Who do you think's in the wrong? What do you think's going to happen next? Just all your thoughts, let me know in the comments. Also, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new, and also if you're interested in some other content, me and Emily have a channel where we play games, do vlogs, react to reality shows, stuff like that. And if you're interested in any of that, that's always linked down below. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.